All right, guys, I think it's finally time to go over the very long awaited gold strategy. Um, I'm going to kind of dumb it down a little bit, simplify it, because there's a lot of things that go into it, but I'm going to give you guys kind of like the basis of what it is that you need to know and kind of how to go about it. So, um, if we just look into this right here, the main things you're going to want to know and remember is 1 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame, as well as an SMA of 8 or an EMA of 8, whatever it is that you want to choose. They are a tad bit different, but really doesn't make that big of a difference. I've just been using the SMA. It's been working out for me. So the main thing with gold, especially with this strategy that is very helpful, is looking at the dollar index. Because for those of you who don't know, gold usually works in the opposite direction of the dollar index. So as you can see here, we're in a downtrend right here, and then the US index is in an uptrend. And so that's kind of very helpful when it comes to kind of just identifying your bias if it's looking a little complicated or just extra confirmation of what exactly it is that you are looking for. And so the first thing you're going to want to do when you get into this strategy, now that you have your EMA, SMA, whatever it is that you choose, you want to mark up some pretty specific highs and lows on the 1 hour or the 4 hour. I used to do 4 hour and then break it down, but then when you do that, this is what things end up looking like, which can be a little overwhelming for some people. So if you'd rather just do it on the 1 hour, that's completely fine. Not super necessary to go up to the 4, but just, extra confirmations. So as you can see, we have this high marked out right here, just going off of this wick realistically, just because we do have a bit of down movement here, comes back up past this SMA with a long wick to then continue back down, which for me is okay. This zone might, be touched again, be hit again, whatever, which is a lot easier to take trades off of rather than, an area like this where there's no, prices to go off of or past movements, especially because gold is in an all-time high. It's hard sometimes when it does look like this because there's no, specific zones to target as for take profits or just, zones with lots of volume. So when it does look like this, as much as it looks a lot choppier and more complicated, at the end of the day, it's just more confirmations and more ways for you to kind of navigate where price is heading or what things are looking like. So as you see, we have this high marked out as well as these lows marked out. This is kind of our zone that we're looking at for, price to reject off of. As you can see, we have that right here. This is kind of what we were waiting for this morning. This happened at 3 a.m. Obviously, I'm not trading at 3 a.m., but that's where the next step comes in. And that is a rejection of the SMA or EMA, whatever it is, again, that you have in place. As you can see, we have that exactly here. And I already knew going off of this rejection here that I was probably going to look into sells. We've been buying for so long. And again, going off of this as well on the dollar index, as you can see, this zone was broken as well as retested and retested and retested. And so that to me was like, okay, the market's reversing, maybe not permanently, but at least for the day it's going to be, I'm looking for sells. So as you can see, that's exactly what happened here. We have this rejection right off the EMA, SMA, etc., where then when that candle closes, I got in for a sell targeting the bottom of this zone, not only because of these wicks, but also because of this right here. And so realistically, you could have done this, you could have done it at the bottom of this candle. It all depends. It's what you're looking for. But again, because of how persistent the dollar index is right here, in an uptrend, that to me indicated that we were probably going to break this low right here, which is why my TP was here for this trade. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend like you are marking out these zones. Same here. This could have been a target zone. Not only this long wick, but literally all of these right here. This was marked out in advance because again, target zone. But it decided to reject here, which was completely fine. And so if we go down and kind of show you guys all over here, and you know the reasoning behind all these. We'll get into it. It's the same exact idea. I have been doing this for months. It's been absolutely insane. So as you can see, we have the exact same thing right here. Same idea. As you can see, we have this zone kind of being messed around with a whole bunch over here. But again, because we were in an overall uptrend for so long, at this point in time, I was still looking for buys. We took a little sell here, same idea as today, where it's like a tad bit of reversal, but because it is on a 1 hour, that means there's still a lot of movement. Because every single one of these candles is a whole hour, right? And so, same idea here, except we did not even wait for the rejection for the sole fact that. At 8 a.m., it is a little different at times. When you do see big rejections like this, you know, over and over again, it is kind of that confirmation that it'll probably reverse, as well as a trade could have been taken right here, realistically, with a stop loss below this and then targeting these highs or, you know, whatever. Like this zone was already marked out. It all just kind of depends on what you're looking at. That being said, like you don't have to wait 100% for that rejection. As you can see, there are a few trades throughout. I mean, this one was a rejection, but there are a few trades throughout all of this that were not taken off of a rejection specifically of the EMA. It's just an extra confirmation of, okay, yes, this is a good trade to get into. If you don't, you know exactly the zones or are comfortable with that. As you can see, same thing here. It did not come down all the way to the SMA right here, but because it rejected off of this zone or hit into this zone, that was kind of my confirmation to get in. This is not the exact trade that I placed. It was more so like this. It's just sometimes I work them out on here properly. Sometimes I do it on my actual funded. So sometimes these are not completely accurate. So it's kind of hard to show you guys. But yeah, so same idea here. You know, a lot of it is just, okay, what is the trend looking like right now? As much as you have to go with your overall bias, as you can see, like we're catching a lot more trades by looking at what's happening right now, what rejections are happening right now, what reversals are happening right now. And when we talk about like rejections, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% just a small wick. As you can see here, we only got in after this candle right here, which is a body candle. But that is just, you know, my bad, late entry type of thing. See once again here, solely going off of several rejections, and again, the price of the dollar index and what it is doing. So that's why I'm saying like you don't always have to wait for that rejection off the EMA, because looking at the dollar index will tell you so much already. Like sometimes it's just, you know, if this is a little confusing for you and then you see that rejection, that could be confirmation, or it's just extra confirmation even though it might not have hit target zones, just stuff like that. So those are the two things to keep in mind. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to have all of those things to take a trade, but again, if you're looking at the dollar index, that will tell you so much that you need to know. Same thing here, going off of rejections. Same thing here. Well, obviously we got stopped out here, but for the most part, it's just all overall bias, news, dollar index. You know, it's all the same. It can be figured out with all of those things. Um, yeah, see, like, yes, we are in an uptrend here. This zone was marked out. This zone was marked out. As you can see, this zone was rejected twice, maybe even 3 times. So it's just like overall, common sense of the market. Um, it just all depends. As you see here, we have a rejection, got in right after that, targeting these zones. Obviously, all these were probably not there at this point, but that's why I'm saying like it's a little messy, which is why I'm like maybe just mark out the 1 hour highs and lows of when you are trading. I haven't clicked this chart at all, so as you can see, it's like all over the place. But yeah, again, same thing. We are in a complete uptrend. We have these rejections off the SMA. We have these rejections. We have these rejections as well as these zones being tested. And so that's overall like the, I don't know, blueprint, I guess, of the strategy. Like it's a lot deeper than that. I feel like all of them are, but it's just like other trading things that I'm not trying to get into in this specific video. But for the most part, that's literally all it is. That's the strategy I've been posting for months that everyone's been asking about. And yeah, so the main things to remember: 1 hour highs and lows. Look at the dollar index. What is the dollar index doing? Is the liquidity sweeps on there, kind of showing that there's going to be reversals, et cetera, et cetera. And then to remember that gold will 99% of the time go in the complete opposite of it. Therefore, that is very helpful to kind of show you what you're looking for and then waiting for those confirmations being either rejections off of key zones, rejections off of zones where there have been big wicks, and then a rejection off an EMA. It's kind of all what you're willing to look at. This could even be, hey, look, this is a big wick. There's a rejection here inside of it. It all just depends. There's consolidation. There's volume. There's liquidity sweeps. It's all what exactly that you're looking for. But for the most part, to break it down as simply as possible, that's all it is. Again, much easier when the market is actually moving kind of in both directions and not so much sideways. This can, get a little more complicated. But for the most part, if you're looking at the dollar index and you're marking out your highs and lows when you're getting on, whether that is 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., 9 a.m., 9 p.m., same exact idea. Just make sure you are paying attention to the dollar index as well as the news, because that will tell you a lot. It will tell you a lot of things that you need to know. And so, maybe not get it as messy as mine, because it can get a little confusing because you don't know exactly what zone you're looking for or at. But if you do it this way, as you can see, it's fairly clean, fairly simple to understand. And so, that's that for that. If you guys have any other questions around it, leave it in the comments. I'll try to answer them or maybe make another video going even further in details. Taking into consideration different candles and what they do and what they mean, and how that affects the strategy and stuff like that. But for the most part, this is what you need to know. I suggest you back test it, get comfortable with looking at both markets, get comfortable with knowing when and how they're working against each other, in order to have more of a clear vision of what you're doing. And then for the stop loss, it's kind of just, it depends. My target was kind of this area right here where you can see price come back a few times. A lot of people would say to put at the last high or low, which is fine, but for me that is not even a 1 to 2, and that's just, I don't trade like that. So this is more preferable for myself, but it is, again, whatever it is that you choose. You could have also targeted this zone right here where there's a lot going on and put your TP right here, let's say, and then this. That's a 1 to 2.3, not so bad, but for the most part, that is what you need to know about the strategy and how it works. So try it out, let me know. Again, make sure to back test it and actually make sure you understand everything. Mark it out, try it out, place trades for a few days without actually taking them and putting real money into them, and just kind of see how it plays out so you can kind of understand how it works. And that being said, that is all. And as always, happy trading.